encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Health and Wellness Monday, and our topic for today is Deadly Forms of Cancer You May Not Know. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, I spoke with DeAndre Williams, and we talked about victory in the face of adversity. Head on over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio. Stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." And that's by Maya Angelou. Here are your trending topics for today. We are celebrating Black History Month, and we are also celebrating Black excellence. So today we celebrate Michelle LaVaughn Robinson Obama. She was born in January on the 17th in 1964. She is an attorney, an author, and she served as First Lady of the United States between the years of 2009 and 2017 as a wife of former President Barack Obama. She was the first African-American woman to serve in that position. Michelle earned her bachelor's degree from Princeton University and a doctorate from Howard Law School. In a commencement address with the City College of New York, she told the graduates to never view your challenges as obstacles. It is a lesson she has embodied all her life. Throughout her time in the White House, Mrs. Obama worked to support veterans and the military families. She also focused her energy on what she called the most important role of her life, which is being a mother of two beautiful girls. Those are your trending topics for today. I am so grateful for my sponsor, which is Emanuel C.O.G.I.C with Pastor Michael Richardson, who has a special message for us.
Greetings, I am Pastor Michael Richardson.
And I am First Lady Anastasia Richardson from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We're located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago, Illinois. We are building upon a solid foundation.
We're inviting you to join us every Sunday morning on Facebook Live at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C at 10:15 Central Standard Time. And you can also view our videos on our YouTube channel at Emanuel C.O.G.I.C-MR. Once again, this is Pastor Michael Richardson
and First Lady Anastasia Richardson. And we're from the Emanuel Church of God in Christ. We are building upon a solid foundation.
And we're talking about the deadliest cancers that you may not know. And I know some people may say, I thought all cancers were deadly, right? No, we have a lot of survivors out here. There's living more than 5 years, more than 10 years. We even have some 20 and 30-year survivors when it comes to cancer. But we do know that cancer is the second most common cause of death of Americans in the U.S. Of course, we know that heart disease is number one, but believe me when I say cancer is like right behind heart disease, and I'm sure that information probably will be changing shortly. So according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, even when diagnosed early and you attack that cancer with treatment, that cancer still has the power to kill. It does. Even when you catch it early, and we know that we push early detection all the time, especially with breast cancer, we say early detection is key, right? Sometimes even when you catch the cancer early, it doesn't factor in a reoccurrence, right? It doesn't factor in that whatever type of treatment that you have may be harmful or toxic to your body. So just because you catch it early doesn't mean that, your survival rate is going to be at, a better rate than anybody who has been diagnosed. But we do know that if you get in early, they're saying that you have better options with treatment. You have more treatments that you can choose from versus you coming in at a stage 4 and they say, okay, the only thing we could do for you is chemo. So early detection is a good thing. I would say if you can get in there early, get your screening done when you should, and they can catch the cancer early, it can kind of give you a peace of mind that, okay, I'm at a stage 0, I'm at a stage 1, which is really considered early, a 0 and a stage 1. Some people didn't even know it was a stage 0. It's a stage 0, it's a stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you can get in at a 0 or 1, your chances of survival and not really having any like detrimental side effects that would like damage the quality of your life, that's where you want to be, or not to get a cancer diagnosis at all. But I always talk about, even if you do everything that they told you to do, there's a chance that you still can get a cancer diagnosis. So according to the World Health Organization, the 3 cancers that kill people the most, and this is the information is coming from 2020, you have lung cancer coming in at 180 million, colorectal cancer at 916,000, then there's liver cancer at 830,000. So these are the top 3 that are known for taking adults out of here. So the number of people a cancer can kill, it actually depends on 2 factors. So it depends on the incident rate, and that's the number of people that are diagnosed, and then the percentage of people who survive. So they look at how many people survive per 100,000 people, and it depends on how many people are diagnosed. They use that 100,000 people, and then they round up their information as it relates to incident rate, as it relates to survival rate. We've all heard about the 5-year survival, right? Some people say, oh, I'm not even a survivor until I hit the 5 years. Sometimes doctors they will never tell you that you're cancer free. They will say none evidence of disease, right? Or they will say remission, because they know that there's a chance that that cancer could come back. So they're never going to tell you that you're cancer free. Never going to tell you that. They're just going to say NED, no evidence of disease. That was the information that they put on my pathology report. Was I was NED at the time after I had surgery, after they removed the lymph nodes, after they tested those lymph nodes for cancer, and they decided that, okay, we got all of the cancer out of her. So they say, right? So the deadliest cancers are those who have the lowest survival rate. So when they count up the incidence of cancer, when they count up the survival rate, how many people survived with that cancer, and they add up all the numbers at the end, the cancer that has the lowest amount of people that didn't survive, then that one gets boosted up to the top. And then we are calling lung cancer, the people that have the lowest survival. So we know if you know somebody that has had lung cancer, whether they're here or not, we know that the survival rate with lung cancer is low, especially if it's non-small cell lung cancer, right? That's the one that's really, it's aggressive. Cancer research determines survival with a measure, again, with the 5-year survival rate. So they will see you once you have all your treatment is done. They'll see you so often within that 5 years. So they won't release you from the doctor's care until your 5 years is up. And they do that because they know that the chances of cancer coming back could be high. And so they want to stay on top of it. So for maybe the first year, you may see your doctor every 3 months. And then maybe after that, it may be every 6 months. Then after that, it may stay at every 6 months, depending on what's going on with you. But then once you get to that 5-year mark, then the doctor releases you back to your general doctor and say, okay, if you haven't had any issues going on, then they say, okay, everything's going well, then you can start seeing your general doctor again. You don't have to come here. If you have any issues with cancer, then the doctor will refer you back to your oncologist. So according to the 5-year survival rate, they're not going to consider you cancer free until they're not going to ever tell you cancer free, but once you get past the 5-year survival rate, the chances of cancer coming back it diminishes. So the percentage of people who are expected to survive the effects of cancer, and that's after you have treatment, because again, it's not just the cancer, it's everything that goes along with the cancer, the treatment that you give, the surgery, the chemo, the radiation. People may have complications from that, to where chemo affects everybody differently. Some people, are very sickly with chemo. Some people are able to function with it to where they're able to still go to work and have a normal life, and it doesn't seem like it affects them, right? And some people can't. Some people, the medicine kills you faster than the cancer would. But I was celebrating right after I had my surgery. I'm like, yay, I'm cancer free. I just consider myself cancer free, whether the doctor told me or not. I wasn't going to sit and wait around for 5 years, the clock ticking for 5 years to determine if I was cancer free or not. So that is not what I was going to do. So let's talk about some of these deadly forms of cancer that some of us may not know about. So you have pancreatic cancer, which the 5-year survival rate for pancreatic cancer is 11.5%. That's pretty low. So pancreatic cancer begins in the tissue of the pancreas, which aids in digestion. And the digestive system cancers, in general, they say, are quite deadly, with fewer than half of the patients surviving the 5 years. And that's why they don't want to consider you cancer free or anything and keep you under surveillance within that 5 years, because they already know that the chances of that cancer coming back is really high. So if you have been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, or you know somebody that's been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, it's a very serious cancer. And not that all cancers are not serious, but pancreatic cancer, it seems to take people out of here quickly, with only 11.5 surviving. I interviewed someone on the show who had pancreatic cancer, and I believe she was diagnosed at a stage 4. And she's still here. After 5 years, she's still here. So it's on an individual basis. But according to their data, at the end of that 5 years, pancreatic cancer came in low when it came to individuals who survived. So it depends on if the cancer has spread, if it progressed. As far as treatment, normally you're going to get the same things. You're going to get chemo, you're going to get surgery, you're going to get radiation. They may have immunotherapy. I mean, basically for every cancer that you have, you're going to get some type of chemo or radiation or surgery. It just depends. Or they have targeted therapy. So it just depends. I mean, with cancer, it's not a lot of different treatments really that have came out. It looks like it's the same as it been 40 years ago when they declared war on cancer. We have mesothelioma, which is a 5-year survival rate. The 5-year survival rate is only 12%. 1% higher than pancreatic cancer. And this is a layer of the cells that line certain cavities of the body. It actually surrounds different organs. So it may surround your heart, it may surround your liver, it may surround like your stomach. So it just, kind of like outlines the different organs in your body. And that survival rate is really low as well. The same type of treatment it has, depending on, again, how far it spreads. You may have to do chemo only. You may only have to do radiation. Again, there's targeted therapy. There's immunotherapy. This particular cancer, again, it could invade the liver. Well, surround the liver, I should say, because this particular one, it kind of like makes a line around the different organs. So another deadly cancer that you may not know about, esophageal cancer, the 5-year survival rate, 20.6. I guess that's a little bit encouraging. 20.6 is low. The esophagus cancer is a muscular tube that transport food from the throat to the stomach. And you're going to get, again, for some reason, you're going to get the same type of treatments. It says the risk factors for esophageal cancer include your age, being a male, smoking, drinking alcohol, or having acid reflux. in your stomach, which the acid comes back up and goes into your lower esophagus. I hear a lot of people talking about acid reflux where they take this medicine, or they go and get over the counter stuff. And I always worry about that, especially with somebody taking it like it's like their daily routine. I'm thinking like something's got to be wrong with you to have to always take these, these little things over the counter. But, I don't know. So number 4, deadly form of disease is gallbladder cancer. And that 5-year survival rate is 19.4. And the gallbladder is also part of the digestive system, which the cancer begins in the gallbladder. Is located underneath the liver. It concentrates into the stored bile, which is made up of the liver that aids the digestive system. I know that was a lot, right? And this one, it says it makes small deposits of hard cholesterol and materials into the gallbladder, significantly increasing the risk of developing gallbladder cancer. Number 5 is liver cancer or bile duct cancer. And if you have heard of Walter Payton, who played for the Bears back in 1999, I remember him having this big announcement with his doctors on TV, and he announced that he had bile duct cancer. Well, he had liver disease, which progressed into bile duct cancer, and they told him, like, within 2 years, you're going to need a liver transplant. But he didn't even get to the 2 years, and then they switched it and said, no, by the end of 1999, you're going to need a liver, which he never got, and he ended up passing away. And I just remember him having his doctors on TV explaining everything that he was going through and how he was just devastated. Like him and his family was devastated. And at that time, I had no idea what was going on. I'm just like, wow, like where did this come from? And it talks about the specific risk factors for liver cancer is hepatitis C or chronic hepatitis B or C infections. And both of these are transmitted through body fluids or blood or through the semen. They have a vaccine for hepatitis B but not C. And so, when the kids are born, they say, hey, make sure you get your kids vaccinated, when they're born so that they would protect themselves from hepatitis B. So that's how I remember what bile duct cancer is back in 1999 when it was announced on TV with one of the Bears players that everybody loved. We used to call Sweetness was his name. Number 6 is lung cancer, coming in at 21%. And again, there's 2 types of lung cancer, which is non-small lung cancer, and then you have small lung cancer. The small one is the one that spreads really quickly. So I'm assuming my dad had the small lung cancer because his spread it really quickly. Like they found it, I'm just going to say they diagnosed him in January. By April, he was gone by April. And then it has already spread it to his spine. It had already spread to his brain. They gave him radiation. And I think they was able to only give him like a couple of rounds of chemo because he didn't last that long after that. And they say lung cancer mainly comes from smoking. But keep in mind that you can also get secondhand smoke from individuals who smoke, right? So my mom was around my dad who smoked. They've been married since they was like 18, 19, and he died when he was 71. And he smoked, I think she said he started smoking when he was like 15. The whole time, just smoking. I can remember him trying to quit. I can remember him chewing the gum. I can remember him using the patch, like all of that. But none of it really worked. It truly is. It's an addiction. None of it worked. But my mom was worried afterwards because she felt like, she may have gotten some of that secondhand smoke and it could possibly happen to her. So she was going to the doctor, having them look at her lungs because, she just didn't want to have it to catch it late or whatever. So, I mean, it's important if you are around somebody who smoke and you've been around them for years, then know that secondhand smoke it could get into your system as well, even though you're not the one puffing a cigarette. So why is lung cancer so common? So it says, even though lung cancer is the deadliest cancer for men and women, the rates are basically declining, and it's due to people stop smoking, and also because treatment for lung cancer has improved, and that's for the non-small cell lung cancer, which is the one that's not as aggressive. So cigarette smoke is by far the highest cause of lung cancer in the U.S. by exposure to the environment or the other increased risk factors. Again, that's secondhand smoke. It is said that with lung cancer, their funding is really low. Like normally when you hear people raising money, you hear people raising money for breast cancer, lung cancer, you really don't hear fundraisers going on for lung cancer. So they're saying that their money, their donations for lung cancer research is really low because people in the US are mainly concerned about the cancers I think that they see all the time. And breast cancer is one of those cancers that is highly publicized, highly pushed for awareness. So if you're donating to some type of charity, then think about donating to lung cancers or other cancers that you really don't get a chance to hear about, because we just don't really see it advertised as much, right? So leukemia coming in at 24.8% when it comes to the deadliest form of cancer. It develops in the blood precursor cells that are on their way to becoming the immune system cells. So it stops it before it gets there. And that treatment is chemotherapy, stem cell transplant, or there may be targeted therapies. We do know that there are people with leukemia that live a long time, but they're also living a long time on that chemo too. And that chemo can be really deteriorating to the body, especially when you're not really getting breaks, from the chemo. Like your body only could take so much. All right, number 8, deadliest form of cancer that you may or may not know about. Brain cancer coming in at 32.5%. And it said that in adults, brain tumors rarely begin in the brain. Most often they spread from other cancers. And I do know the people that are diagnosed with breast cancer, and I just told you lung cancer. My dad had lung cancer. It spread to the brain. And people that have breast cancer, a lot of times it spread to their brain as well. So for adults, it doesn't start, for us, it doesn't necessarily start in the brain. It normally stems from other places when the cancer decides to metastasize throughout your body. All right, I want to recognize my sponsor, who is Paula Kelly with Allstate, you guys, and she is located at 327 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois, and she could be reached at 708-758-3300. Can you let her know that Warriors Talk sent you? She's also a breast cancer survivor, and she has been supporting the show for as long as I can remember. Maybe she's been supporting it maybe a couple of months after I got started. So make sure you contact her. Quality insurance from a quality agent. All right, let's talk about some of the ways that you can reduce your risk of some of these deadly cancers. And I don't say prevent, because there are not a lot of ways that you can actually prevent cancers. You have some cancers that you can prevent. We know that we have the HPV, where you can, get the shot, especially when you're younger. They encourage younger girls to get the shot, younger guys to get the shot. But there are not a lot of preventions when it comes to cancers. You can do genetic testing, and if you test positive for the BRCA1, BRCA2, then you can do some preventive things when it comes to prevention. Some people may get back from their genetic testing that they have a certain percentage for breast cancer, a certain percentage for ovarian cancer, or other different types of cancer, and then it gives you a chance to do some proactive things when you find out that you have test positive for those things. Hey, Kenya, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. So let's quickly talk about some of the ways that you can reduce your risk of some of these deadly cancers. And if you have been listening to the show, then right now I may sound like a broken record because most of these things we have already talked about. But for lung cancer, it says to stop smoking or using any type of tobacco products. Improve your nutrition by adding more fruits and more vegetables, more nuts and seeds. Last week, I had on a gentleman who talked about colon cancer, and he also talked about giving your system a break where you detox your system from all, especially like if you're eating meat and a lot of processed foods, you may want to detox your system with like fruits and vegetables, maybe for a couple of days or a week or so, just to kind of flush your system out. Decrease consumption of processed foods. That's what I just talked about. Prevent heavy alcohol use. And I know that that's probably something going out around saying, oh, a glass of wine a day, keeps the doctor away. Just think about it. If you're drinking a glass of wine every single day for the rest of your life, yeah. Okay. Reduce obesity levels. We do know that there's an increased risk of cancer, diabetes, heart disease if you're overweight. If you're what they consider obese. Increase activities. Get moving. It's so easy to get moving. You can walk. You don't have to pay. You can go outside. You can walk. You can go to YouTube and type in exercise for beginners. Get a friend, get somebody to hold you accountable, and and exercise. Just get moving. You would be surprised, especially those who have cancer, how much exercise really play a role if you're able to move in helping you just having an easier time with cancer and also helping keep that cancer at bay. Kenya said, oh my God, my connection just froze. Oh, I'm sorry. I can see it. I can see your comments. I'm not sure what's going on with the connection. So another way you can reduce your risk, it says protect your skin by wearing sunscreen and avoid indoor tanning. So don't do the tanning beds because they're known to cause cancer. And African Americans, we may say, oh, I don't need no suntan. Yes, you do. We do, because we get skin cancer too. So make sure that if you're going outside and you're going to be in the sun, and vitamin D is good for us. It's a good protection against cancer, but you don't overload on it, right? And you make sure if you're out there that you're putting on some type of sunscreen. My Leo said it's important. I recommend Grow with Joe on YouTube for at-home workouts on all levels. Oh, okay. Grow with Joe, J-O. Yeah, they have so many different people that you could just follow. If you're a beginner, you don't have to, know how to do all of these things. You don't even have to have equipment to do the exercise at home. It all starts with you. So you just got to figure out what is it that you want to do, what level that you're starting at, and just get moving. The next one says participate in age-appropriate screening. So we know that if you had somebody in your family that was diagnosed with cancer 10 years before they're diagnosed, then you go in and say, hey, doctor, my mom or my dad was diagnosed with cancer. What do we need to do? What type of plan do we need? They may say, oh, we don't need to do anything. We'll just monitor you. Or they may come up with a plan on what it is that you need to do, but at least you are being proactive about screening. And we talked about, again, colon cancer last week, where the age used to be 50 and they bumped it up to 45. So now that means I was screened 5 years later, because in my head, I'm thinking 50. But when I went in, it was like, oh, no, it's 45. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So I just missed that because of miseducation. So I'm telling you that if you are 45 or older and you haven't had a colonoscopy, just go and get one. You won't remember anything. The only thing that you remember, the only thing that you really notice is you going to check in and them taking all of your vitals. And then once they take your vitals and they give you the drugs and wheel you back into the operating room, you have no idea what's going on. All I knew was once I had the colonoscopy, I woke up and my clothes were on, and I'm just like, well, who put on my clothes? Like, how did my clothes get back on? But I don't know if I put them on and I was just out of it and I didn't know that I put them on. And they always tell you to have somebody to come with you. So my mom came with me, and I don't remember even how we got home. So they tell you don't take an Uber. If you're going to do a colonoscopy, please don't take an Uber. Have somebody that you know and trust to bring you to the appointment so that, you could get home safely, because you're going to be still out of it from the anesthesia. I just remember my mom pulling up, and then I don't even know how we made it home because I was out of it. So just imagine having a colonoscopy, then you trying to drive home. Oh my God, that would be a wreck. And for individuals with breast cancer, the age is 40. Right. So if you're 40, then you should be going in getting screened unless you have a family member, or unless you find something yourself, then you push for your doctor to get you in to get screening. And there are organizations out here like Equal Hope that will help you get screening if you don't even have insurance. They help with insurance, medical insurance for individuals who don't even have insurance. So having insurance is not an excuse. Being young and not of screening age is not an excuse. We do have information and individual organizations out here that will help you get it done. My next one is get vaccinated. I mentioned the HPV vaccination for hepatitis B. It's totally your choice if you want to get the vaccine. It's there, and we've taken all these other vaccines, so why not, right? It's something out here that can protect you from cancer. This is the only one that we have. So if you can take something, that's being proactive, right? So I would say be proactive, get all the information that you need about it, and then make an informed decision. That's what it's all about. So I'm not encouraging one way or the other for you to go and get a vaccine. Just get educated about it and then go out and get the information that you need to make sure that you are taking all proactive measures to reduce your risk of cancer. Remember, I'm not saying prevent, I'm saying reduce, because with cancer, it's over 200 and something cancers. So it's kind of, I know we push like, oh, well, where's the cure, right? There's so many different cancers out here that if they looking for a cure, you got to start with everybody's working on a cure for different types of cancer. It's not like everybody's working on one cure. No, everybody's working on different cures. I had an opportunity to sit on a panel where we looked at different applications for individuals who was doing research, right? And we had to vote on these applications for the treatment for breast cancer. And I felt really empowered that I had a voice to say, oh yeah, this will work. Oh no, that's too toxic for someone that may be going through breast cancer. So I got paid to sit on the panel. So, and this is something that I can add to my resume that'll help give me credibility for what I'm doing for advocacy. So I was excited to be recommended to sit on the panel. And so I got a chance to see the type of research that's coming down the pipeline from scientists and with their grant research. So I was really excited about that. So research is being done. I know it may not feel like it because we don't have a cure right now, but so many scientists out there are really putting in the work. So I'm hoping that something comes down the pipeline for individuals to give them some relief when it comes to cancer. So there you have it, you guys. You have 8 deadly forms of cancer that you may not know. And then I gave you 10 things that you could do to reduce your risk of cancer. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the show today. Don't go anywhere. So stay tuned right here at 7 p.m. is The People Show with Mark Wallace and Charles Thomas. And I want you to join me next Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. I will close out with my closing sponsor, who is Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay, and she is catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. So make sure that you contact her and you let her know that Warriors Talk sent you, and let her know that you heard it from me, right? Because she donates to events that we have, and I just want her to know that I am getting the information out to individuals. So go over to marykay.com/GDOTSON and let her know what your beauty needs are. All right, you guys. So I will leave you with these words of wisdom. We spend precious hours fearing the inevitable. It would be wise to use that time adoring our families, cherishing our friends, and living our lives. And that's also by Maya Angelou. So join me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio at 6 p.m. As always, Warriors Talk is changing lives, one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.